Hello everyone, my name is Jared. I'll be going over the LiveHelpNow help desk solution. Before I start, I just want to mention we have a 30-day free trial. It is fully featured, so you'll get the same usage that our paid subscribers have. Let's start with ways you can have chat on your website. First way is you can have a link in your navigation. It can be a button that already exists on your website. We also have embedded widgets that can sit on the right or left-hand side of your page, and they sit with you while you're scrolling. Before I start a chat, I just want to show you we have a pre-chat form, and by default you'll have 4 input fields where you can have customers fill in answers to questions, or they can be drop-down menus if you want them to select an answer. If you need something more elaborate, like a chat bot, so that it can answer some questions for you instead of having your agents answer all of the questions, we do offer that, and that's what you're seeing here. So if you are interested, you'll be able to build a custom logic for you. So based on the customer's answers to these questions, it can route them to a standard answer, or it can be sent to a live agent. This way, if you have a lot of simple inquiries, this bot can handle all the low-level stuff. That way, you're not constantly tying up your agents answering all these really tiny questions. This might be a better option in that case. So before I start the chat, I want to show you that we have a desktop application called the Alerter software. And this is for Mac and PC. This will allow you to access the program so that you can see all of your live chats and live traffic on your website. And if for any reason you can't install software on your computers, you can log in directly to our website as well. So either way, you'll be able to use the program. So first, I'm going to demonstrate what it's like when a chat starts. You'll get a pop-up with sound notification that a chat's coming in. And once you click that, it'll open up to the operator panel. And it is one click here to accept the chat. And now I'm chatting with the customer over here in the operator side chat window. As you can see, I have an automatic greeting presented to the customer. That's something that you can configure as well. That way you're not constantly typing pleasantries out every time you begin a chat. This is what it looks like over here on the customer side. And of course, all of this can be customized. If you need different colors, you need it to look different, you'll be able to code however you need it to be. You have full control over the customization on the visitor side of this system. So let's get into what you're seeing here. So the first column we have on this row here is called chat colors. This represents the status of the chat. Right now, the chat color is green, meaning that as an operator, I'm waiting for a response. When the customer sends a response, you'll get a sound and visual notification that that has occurred from the alerter. And if you're using the browser, it'll look like this. But either way, the system will always notify you that you need to respond to a chat. It's not as if it comes in one time and then it's missed. It'll constantly remind you that the chat's coming in. And when you go in to answer the chat color will then change to yellow, meaning that as an operator, I'm waiting for a response. So this way, if you have multiple chats on the grid, you'll know exactly which one you need to respond to, rather than clicking on each chat trying to see where the conversation lies. If a customer is just shown as browsing, they'll be gray. And if you see blue, that means that a customer has chatted today, but currently they're just browsing. The next column shows the country of origin the customer is coming from. And when you select either the chatting or browsing visitors, this general tab will update with information about each visitor. So you'll get anything they had filled out in the pre-chat form. You'll get the current page they're on, the landing page they hit, their physical location, and the computer specs. And this information is all gathered from their IP address. The next column shows whether the customer is a returning visitor or not. If they are, they'll have this little human icon here. And if you scroll over it, it'll show you their last visit time as well. If they find your site through Google, Yahoo, or Bing, their logos will populate in here as well. And these little flags that you're seeing are a tool we have called visitor tags, which allow you to identify customers based on attributes. So you have 5 of these flags, and you can customize what they represent. Our red flag means prospect. So basically, when you're chatting with somebody and you feel that they're going to be a prospect, you can label them with one of your flags, and then it'll always be there whenever they come back to chat. So all of your staff will know this attribute about the customer. And you can automate this action. You can make it so that if they do certain things on your website, like hit a certain page or hit a certain number of pages, you can label them. A lot of people use this for their VIP customers. So whenever they come into chat, everyone's aware of this. So it's good to identify customers. You can also identify your staff as well. So if your staff are logging into your website and you don't want your chat agents to invite them to chat, you can definitely identify your networks with these two. The next column shows which agent is taking the chat. After that is the state of the chat, either chatting or browsing. You can also see the browser the customer is using, how many pages they had viewed, and if you need to take a look at the actual pages, there's Nav History tab next to the General tab, and that'll show you every page click that they've made. And if there's any previous chats with them, they'll also be listed under Call History. So if they need to recall a previous chat, you can in seconds rather than having to wait and dig through the analytics trying to find that transcript. They'll always be attached whenever they come in. It also shows you the date and time of the chat and any information that was filled out in the pre-chat. Now, obviously, some of this information is already here in the General tab, so you might find some of it irrelevant, or you may want to move different things into this grid. Well, every operator has the ability to customize the settings on the grid, so you'll be able to add or subtract different values and rearrange how they're presented so that you only see the relevant data. You also can customize what everyone's seeing here. So I see all of the chatting and browsing visitors. If you want to set up department routing and you want people to only see what's assigned to them, or in any case, just chats, you'll be able to set up their view access so that they only see what they're supposed to see rather than the rest. So you'll be able to clean up this grid and make it so that people only get the appropriate information. But for the demonstration, of course, I'm going to show everything. You also can invite your browsing traffic to chat. You can do that automatically. You can set rules, meaning if they hit certain pages on your site, or if they're on your site for a certain period of time, or if it's something they put in the search engine or what have you, you can have automatic chat invites present or coupon codes. So you'll always be able to automate the invitation process so that you're not manually doing it. But in any case, if you'd like to manually invite customers, you can click on browsing visitors, type a message into the chat box and hit send. And then what will happen is they will get a chat invitation presented to them while they're browsing your website, and then they can either close the chat or begin it. Now I'm going to get through all the tools that you have while chatting with customers. So the first tool that we have is canned responses. These are pre-written messages that you can send to customers. You can create unlimited amounts of these, and you can group them by folder. So that way everything's organized. So when you have a lot of the same questions coming through and you don't want to have to type these answers out over and over again, it'd be really helpful if you can just hit a button and then that whole answer gets dropped right into the chat box. So you can do this with not just text, but also hyperlinks and images. So if you have any links or images you're going to be using often to support, you can easily load all of that stuff into the canned responses. That way, it's a click of a button to answer a question rather than having to type out a whole paragraph's worth of data or locate a link. You can set permissions on which departments are able to use the canned responses, and you have a search bar here at the bottom in case you need to get to the one you need quickly if you make many. The next tool we have is called Animated GIF. This allows you to send animated GIFs into the chat. This works, and you see this on social media platforms. This isn't always professional in some settings, so we do give you the ability to turn this off if you feel this won't work for you. We also have a file transfer option, so if you need to send a file to a customer in chat, you can choose a file from your computer and send it through. It'll be a link that they can download. And if you need a file from the customer, you can hit Request File, and it'll prompt you again to make sure, and then they will get the option to submit a file to you. You can't send over executable files or MSI files or anything that's deemed malicious. It won't go through. This is only meant for things like documents and images, so there's no issues there when it comes to security. If it's not one of those things, it simply won't go through. By the way, our chat system is 256-bit SSL financial grade encrypted, and We have clients like the United States Navy and many financial institutions, so we can handle any kind of security measures that your company may require. Also, if for any reason you feel that this transfer option, you don't want it to be available, you can remove this as well. The next tool allows you to transfer chats. Like I said, you can direct chats automatically to a department based on what they select in the pre-chat form or based on where they are. But if for any reason you need to manually transfer, say, it was transferred correctly, but then the chat turned into a billing question, so you got to move it from support over to billing. So you can do that. It'll give you the list of available departments, and it also gives you the list of operators available within the department and how many chats they're currently in. Anyone who's not available will not be in the list, so that way you don't accidentally send the customer to a dead end. Only active departments and operators will show. And then when you select that operator, the accept button that you had seen will actually have their name on it, so they can go ahead and select it and continue helping the customer from where they left off. That way they don't have to repeat themselves. They'll have the entire chat history. You also can chat with your other operators by clicking View Operators. It'll give you the list of departments you have, and then you can click into the departments to view the operators. And you'll be able to click on the individual operator to have the conversation. That way you don't have to open up an email or just simply open up another screen. You can have everything done right through the system. And the alerter will let you know when an operator has sent you a message. That way you can differentiate that between your actual customers. And what will happen is you'll see the alerter will give you the message here, and then the actual chat message from your operator will be up here. When you click on it, you can then view it and continue chatting. Now, the next thing I want to show you is our whisper functionality. So as you can see, my coworker Jamie has sent a message into our chat, and it's a yellow background. It's different than everything else. If you look on the customer side, they don't see that message. So whisper messages are meant for when you're training while you're in a live chat. You can click on a chat that's not assigned to you. Unfortunately, there isn't another one here for me to show you, but if I was to click on another chat, at the top it would say whisper mode, session's not assigned to you. And I can type whatever I need to into this chat box, and it will come over to that operator as a whisper message, and the customer never sees it. So whether you're guiding a new operator to answer questions, or if you just need to interject and say like, hey, oh yeah, don't forget about that new sale that we have, you can do all of those things, and the customer is none the wiser. So basically you can talk shop in the middle of the live chat, and nothing is seen by your customer base. The next tool I want to show you is the language translator. So if a customer comes on speaking a different language, you can select from the list here. This is using Google Translate's plugin, so this is all Google Translate supported. If their browser is already set in a language, it'll already be selected. Otherwise, you'll have to select from the list. I'm just going to demonstrate today using Finnish. So now anything I send over to the customer in English will go over to them in Finnish, and vice versa. So I get the English, and then I'll see the Finnish here. On their side, they're simply receiving Finnish. And when they respond in Finnish, it'll translate back over into English. So that way there's no language barrier, and you can assist your customers globally. If the customer happens to know your primary language, you can hit the button again and hit reset, and it will stop translating. We also have an automatic spell checker that'll present just like a word processing program before you send a message. That way you're able to correct your spelling and grammar before the information goes over to the customer. We also have a manual button for the spell check. If you don't like the automation, you can turn that off, and then you click this button to then check your spelling if needed. You also can email customers their transcripts automatically, or you can allow the customer to select. But if you do need to email individual transcripts while you're in them, you have this envelope icon where you can copy their email address and send it through. You can also do this, of course, if someone on your staff needs to see it. It's an easy way to do that. You also can print the transcripts as well. We also offer an add-on for screen sharing. So the program Zoom that we're using to make this demonstration, if you happen to need to connect to customers' computers and you may need the possibility of video chat per se, You can look into integrating Zoom with our platform. You would just need to get a license with the Zoom platform, and it'll integrate right away. You'll be able to do all of those things. And Zoom has a trial as well. So if you need to trial us with them together, that's totally possible. But it is an add-on feature, the co-browsing. The next tool that we have is called Secure Forms. This allows you to take sensitive data through the chat without any issue. So like I said, when you chat, it's secure. The only thing that may not be secure is if the transcripts are sent out to the customer's email may not be 100% secure. So using secure forms will ensure that any sensitive data that was talked about in the chat will not actually remain there. That way, no matter what, the sensitive data is always hidden. And let me elaborate. So with secure forms, you're able to, in the admin side here, this is where you can create and set everything up, you'll be able to go in and create a custom form, because if you're capturing sensitive data, you're going to want to be able to build it yourself so that you know it's asking the right thing. So we give you that option. You'll be able to name the forms. That way, if you have multiple forms, you can select them from a list. You'll be able to select which departments are able to use the forms. You can encrypt the data, of course, and then you can set how the information is handled. In most cases, you just want it to purge, and most people want it to purge instantly upon view. That way, the information is taken down and removed immediately. But if you do need other circumstances, you can do send a webhook, then purge. So if you needed to go to a CRM platform automatically, then delete, or an email, you can do that as well. You'll also have, like I said, you can build the form from scratch. You'll have every kind of text box, drop down, upload, whatever kind of form you're going to need. You can put all of that in there. You can map it to your CRM, and you'll be able to have the exact form that you envisioned. Now, to use this in chat, it's very simple. You'll click on the secure form, and I'm going to select the form. I'm going to use the background check form for an example. So it goes over to the customer, has this box here, and then they'll be able to click and fill out the form. I'm just going to put in some text real quick for placeholder that we can move on. So then they submit the form. They'll get a notification that the form was submitted. And then you, of course, will as well. You simply go ahead to select it. Due to the admin settings on the account, the form will be deleted instantly once viewed. So it's going to remind you each time that when you go to open this form that you have it set to purge upon view. Because we're all human, and sometimes we forget. So this will always remind you. So then once you hit OK, you can view that sensitive data, and then once you close it, it's deleted. I can't open it again, and neither can the customer. So that's how you'll be able to take all sensitive data through chat securely. So if you ever need payment information, personal identification, anything like that, or HIPAA, anything like that, it can all be done through the secure forms. So just keep that in mind. You'll have no issue capturing that data with our platform. All right, the next tool we have here you'll use sparingly. It's called Terminate Chat. It'll basically allow you to terminate the chat. You can do it immediately or on time. Now, you can set the windows, the chat windows, to automatically close if they're idle for a certain amount of time. And that's your better option, because with chat etiquette, you don't want to end the chat on the customer, not the customer to end the chat. So if it goes idle for a while, they'll get a message saying that it has gone idle, and they can either restart the chat or submit an email. So that way you show them that you're not leaving them in the dust. They simply just took too long to respond. But in any case, if you do need to terminate a chat, you'll be able to do that here. If somebody comes on your website and they are causing a disturbance, they are not an actual customer, and you need them to stop bothering your staff, they may continue to start chats. So in that case, you can select them, and then when you scroll down on the general tab, their IP address is listed, and then you'll be able to ban them. You can put in a reason why, and then click the ban link. What'll happen then is they'll get a message that says chat's unavailable, and they will have to move on. They won't be able to chat anymore. They'll still be able to access your website. They simply just won't be able to use the chat function. What they don't know is the chat ban is only for 48 hours, but no one's aware of this, so they're just going to move on. If you happen to ban somebody accidentally while chatting, any administrator can lift it with a click of a button. So they'll be able to go in real quickly and lift a banned IP address. So there's no worries if for any reason that needs to be done. It's a very quick process. All right. The next thing I want to show you is the dashboard. The dashboard here is only for the administrators on the account. This will give you some quick statistics on the chat system at a glance. This is by no means our analytics. We have a lot more elaborate analytics that I'll go over in a little bit. This is just for your at a glance, seeing what's happening for the day. And then at the top here, we also have metrics that measure how well you're using the system to help your customers. And the metrics are measured and you're scored monthly based on how well you're using the system. If any of the metrics say unfavorable, you can click on it and it will take you to a page on our website that shows you how to utilize that feature properly. So this way you can make sure you're getting the maximum benefits out of the system. And like I said, every account is scored based on how well they're using the system. So the top 100 winners, meaning the highest scores for the month, are featured on our website. We call it the LiveHelpNow Challenge Winners. And when you are a winner, you will get a write-up on your company, links to your social media, and you'll get a badge that you can place on your website showing your customers that you're winning awards for customer service. So I can't tell you how beneficial this is. When people, especially they go to your site for the first time, they see these awards before they go to start a chat, they're going to feel much more confident that they're dealing with the best. So it's just something nice to consider. All right, next thing I want to show you is chat tagging. Chat tagging is this thing that keeps popping out to the side that you're probably wondering what it was about. Well, now we're going over it. So what this does is it allows you to create up to 30 different themes of what the chat's about. And then you can either manually select the tags while you're chatting with the customer, or you can set keywords to auto tag the chat. So I know we have a pricing one. So if I type price, it's going to auto tag it on the other side. I can see here, see chat auto tag this pricing. So you can either automate that or do it manually. But this way, when people ask, well, how many chats, or should I say, what chats are we getting? What are people asking about? You can go into the analytics and you'll be able to see a report on those chat tag statistics. So you get a nice pie chart, and you can set the date range up here. You can export all reports into Excel as spreadsheets. And you can also print and download the graphics. And these reports are interactive. It's like if you click on a slice of the pie, it's going to give you the transcripts associated with that chat tag. All these reports are very interactive. Say you don't need to see all the slices of the pie. You can remove some. So you'll have full interactive reporting here. And again, it's all exportable. But now that we're in here, let's go over what we have. So you'll get a lot of the standard stuff, your marketing overviews, your top refers, top campaign sources. You'll see your marketing information like the refer URLs, the search engines, the landing pages that people hit. You'll see your website visitors. You'll be able to see things like new versus returning visitors, visitors by country, by language. You can see by raw IP address. So literally, if you need to see every IP that hit your website in a day and go through the information, you absolutely have the ability to do so. This information, you can see the region info and all that in the nav history. That nav history and region info are kept for 48 hours. So if you do need this, I would recommend exporting it frequently. Otherwise, you'll just have the IP address and the country that the IP is registered to beyond 48 hours. But let's get into some other reporting that this system offers that a lot overlook or don't think about. And that is what I'd like to call conversion reporting. So with conversion reporting, you'll be able to see things like if you're doing sales, you'll be able to see which chats turned into a sale. That way, you don't have to constantly review things and find out. You can set it up so that it doesn't even have to be sales. It could just be you need the customer to go to a specific website or do a specific action, like fill out a form or something. You can set it up so that you can gauge which chats turn these customers into into a conversion, and they're interactive. So when you click on the actual conversion theme, like for example, this department here for webinar sign up. And I can now see every single conversation within that date range that turned in to a webinar sign up. So I'll be able to view all of that data. Like I said, everything's interactive. And again, it doesn't have to just be sales. It could be, like I said, this is signing up for a webinar. This isn't even a sales type thing. It's just an action. And you can even view the interactions as well. So this is great, especially too, if you're training your staff on how to, the wording to get people to convert. If you see someone's performing very well, you can use their verbiage as an example. But again, our reporting will allow you to easily navigate through this data and use it to your advantage. And then in the chat system, we have a lot of reporting that's very helpful, especially the operator time clock report. This will show you when your operators log in and out each day. So you'll be able to see the exact times they're on and off, how many chats they've had, and how long they've spent online. So you'll always have all the information about your staff. Then in the live chat statistics report, you'll be able to see a lot of stuff in real time, like your daily sessions, and then if offline chat requests. So you can even get how many times people clicked on chat when you were offline, chats by hour. You'll also be able to see chats by window. So if you guys are creating multiple chat windows, like if you have different brands, or if you're installing chat into a mobile app and you want to see how many chats are coming from there, we now give you the ability to check that as well. The daily live chat breakdown report, this is the best report because it encompasses everything, so you can get full statistics. So you'll be able to see the average chat time, how long customers wait until their initial chat request is answered by one of your staff. That's what average wait time is. You'll be able to see how many chats were missed while you were available, meaning you failed to answer a chat request while online. We also have a text-to-chat option, which I'm going to go over, and a Facebook Messenger integration. You also will see, if you do manual chat invites or automated chat invites, you'll see how many are sent and how many are accepted, so you'll know exactly how effective they are. You can get breakdowns per agent as well and by department. So you can see things like average response time in between questions. So if you have an SLA that you need to adhere by, you'll also be able to gather all of that data so you can make sure all of that's being followed. So our reporting will always give you all the information that you're going to need. Chat transcripts are kept in our system for 90 days, but you can keep them longer by either exporting them. You can have them sent to email automatically, and we also have an enterprise option. So if you would want us to keep the transcripts, we can store them for over 2 years. But by default, you have 90 days. And you'll be able to search by each department or each operator. You can also do by keyword, and you can get a report of just drop chats. Because drop chats you obviously don't want to happen. When a drop chat comes in, that means the customer started a chat, and then they chose to leave before any of your team answered. In that case, you'll have their contact info so you can reach out to them. And then you'll also know who was online when that chat was missed. And you can even reiterate the times by going to the operator time clock. And then you'll be able to discuss with your team as to why this chat was missed. You can say, hey, this person came in at 3 o'clock and you and 3 others were unavailable. Why wasn't the chat answered? So it'll be really good for quality control. Plus, like I said, you have their contact info, so you can reach out to them directly. We also have chat surveys you can set up, so that way when a customer wants to rate the experience they had with the operator, they'll be able to submit a survey. You can ask up to 10 questions, and they can be 1 to 5 is the rating system, 5 being satisfactory. And they also can add comments, and you'll have the transcript and the customer's contact info. And, you'll have your ratings. So like you have 1 to 5. Obviously, when you're going over the reporting, if something scored a 1, you're going to want to know why. So you can click on that and it will show you all of the 1s for that category. So if you need to make sure, if you want to review all the bad services, obviously that's the ones you want to correct, you can click on the numbers and it will give you those results right here so that you're not wasting time. You can just summon that information directly into the report. And all of the reports also have filters. So if you want to filter per department and only see certain results, you have the ability to do so. We also have the chat sentiment analysis, and what this does is it gauges every conversation, and regardless of whether a survey is submitted or not, if there's any negative sentiment in the conversation from the customer, you can have it sent to a particular email so that you can review those conversations. And the reason that this is helpful is because sometimes you'll be chatting with customers, especially if you have tons of inquiries that day. Someone's lukewarm response to you may be overlooked due to how busy you are. And later in hindsight, if you were to review that conversation, you might be able to say to yourself, well, this could have been handled better on our side. Well, in this case, it captures those kinds of moments and sends them to you so that you can review and make sure, because after the chat ends, it'll send this directly to the inbox. Somebody can sit there and go, yeah, we could have done this better. Let's reach out and make this right. These are things that kind of fall under the radar sometimes, especially when you're busy. So this report will definitely help you maintain the level of excellence that you strive to achieve. And all of our reporting, especially in the trial, you can use everything. All of our systems have reporting, and you'll be able to test absolutely everything. But I'm going to get back into the chat system and show you some more features. So the next thing I want to show you is, a lot of people ask me when I do these demonstrations, they say, hey, I see that you have to click and accept a chat. Well, what if we'd rather have it assigned automatically? We want to have like a system. Well, yeah, we definitely have that. We have a queuing system that you can enable. So that will allow you to set up how many chats your operators can take at a time. So you can set their limits, meaning that, for example, if it's 10, that means that every operator can have 10 chats. And then if more are coming in, the customer then is placed in a queue. And they'll get the time, their wait time estimated, and they'll also get a place in line that they're in. And you, of course, get customize all the verbiage, too, if you need to say other things. But that way, if your agents are getting overloaded, your customer will get the queue message, and then others have to wait a few minutes before they can get assistance. You also can set how long the queued customer is assigned to one of your operators. So say you have everyone answering the same amount of inquiries, and it doesn't matter who gets what, you just want chats to be distributed evenly. So what you can do is you can set the operator queue timeout, meaning that when someone's queued to a particular operator, every so many seconds, you can have it so it's reassigned to another person. Because obviously when you're chatting, everybody finishes up chats at different times. So this will just bounce the customer back and forth between your operators until somebody frees up, giving them, of course, the quickest opportunity to get help. So that's something you can set up. You can also remove this by just putting it to 0 if you want it to stay assigned to the person that was initially. Then, of course, also there's the assignment. You can do a round-robin setup, which will automatically assign everything evenly to the group of operators that are on at that moment. This is meant for when your staff is constantly logging in and out of the system. You don't have somebody on consistently throughout the day. It's always just different people going on and off to answer inquiries every so many hours. If you have a dedicated group that are on for the entire day, then you can use the least busy operator option, which will distribute the chats throughout the entire day evenly. And you also can set a limit on how many chats and queued customers you can have at one time. So obviously the queue wait time will increase as you get built up. So if you're really busy and you're getting swamped, you may not want the queue wait time to say 60 minutes or something that high, because obviously it's off-putting to the customers. So you can set a threshold. You can say, I only want this many chats and queued customers on my screen at one time. If more come in than that, I need them to be redirected to the offline email. So what will happen is, say it's 300, and you're full right there. If 301st chat comes in, they'll get the offline email form. They can submit their inquiry quickly through an email rather than seeing that wait time of, say, 60 minutes. Because like I said, that's very off-putting, and you're not going to want that shown to your customer. So that's how the queuing system can be used to delegate chats and set limits, so that way things aren't overwhelming. We also have automations. Like I said before, you can set up automatic chat invitations and coupon codes and other things like that. I'll be here all day explaining what this can do. So I'm just going to give you the gist of it. That way you can understand that this has the opportunity to do many things. So say you have a chat invite you want to go out based on a URL they hit because you have a sale for that particular item per se. So under the visitor actions, you can go to current page URL. You can put in whatever that is, so yourdomain.com/hockey sticks. And under perform these actions, you can go to send promo. And you can set a time delay in seconds on when that appears. And you can put your promo in there. So that way, when they hit that page, it'll pop up and say, hey, I see you're looking at the hockey sticks. We have a promo, or we have a sale on these today at only $19.99 or whatever. So that way, you don't have to sit there and manually send that stuff to customers when they come on that page. You can have it so that it just automatically presents. And again, same thing with a chat invitation. You'll be able to do it based on any kind of action. It could be a returning visitor, how many pages they visited, whatever they put in the pre-chat form. The sky's the limit. The other thing, too, that this can really be helpful for is custom chat routing. So you can route chats based on the pre-chat form or what page they're on, but maybe it needs to be really elaborate. Maybe you have a sales team that goes in regions. So you could say, like, oh, well, Richard takes chats for, the Southwest of America. So anybody from these states need to go to this person. That's something that you can configure in the visitor triggers here as well. So if you need really advanced custom routing, you can specify that kind of thing. So like if your pre-chat value, if one of them is to select the state, you could say if contains Pennsylvania and Texas or whatever. You can put all of that in there, and then you can say, okay, if this, then assign to this department or assign to this particular operator. So the visitor triggers will allow you to do a lot of advanced automations. And our staff's here to help. If you guys have questions or need to set anything like this up, we'll make sure that you can get all of that together so that it's much easier for you. We also have mobile apps. So if you have an iOS or an Android and you need to take chats from those devices rather than a computer, we have apps made for both of those platforms, and they're free to use. We also have an offline schedule you can set, so that way chat goes offline automatically at your closing hour every day rather than someone forgetting to log out and chat staying available for much longer and causing people to be upset. So instead of that, you can set times, and you can do it per department if you don't have, or if you have different hours per department. That way it'll just take everyone off, and you can finish any chats you're in. So like say you're still chatting and this cuts off, you'll be able to finish everything you're currently in. It just won't allow new chats to come in until you start the day the next day and log in. We also integrate with Google Analytics. So if you want your LiveHelpNow data to show up in your Google Analytics reports, you can do that as well. The next thing I want to go into is the integrations we have. So the next thing is the SMS to chat or the text to chat. You're going to want to use this. What this does is it allows you, so when you start a chat on a mobile device, you can just use your SMS on your phone to converse back and forth rather than having to look through your phone browser, because phone browsers have limitations. It'll work, some people have no problems with this, but in other cases, people have said, oh, well, it's hard to see the notifications, or the sound isn't really apparent on this particular phone model. So to combat any kind of limitations that phone browsers have, it'll just open up your text message option instead. And the way it works is you'll provide us with your company number. It just has to be a landline. And the way it works is you provide us the landline number. And again, it can be your company's 800 number. It doesn't have to be any special number because it's never called or interrupted. It can be used the same way it was. What happens is we have a third party which provisions that number so that when a text message tries to go to it, it ends up coming into the chat system instead. So that way when they go to text, it'll come through here as a chat. And then when you're answering the questions, it'll go back to the customer's phone as a text message. So that way, it's really convenient for your mobile traffic, especially when over 51% of all traffic online is on a mobile device. Why not make it the most convenient thing for them? So in this case, when you are doing this, since your number is already saved on their phone from when they started the text, they can save that number in their phone and then text it whenever they have a question. So now, not only does your mobile traffic not have to go to your website to ask questions anymore, they can just text you like you're a simple contact in their list like anyone else. And you can have a welcome greeting. So when they text, they get an initial greeting to make sure they got the right place. They can also, when they reach you during your off hours, you can have an offline greeting so they can know where to get additional resources. And of course, you can have a pre-chat form just like on the computer. So that way they can fill out their name or whatever else you need. And once they answer the questions, the chat will begin. But I highly recommend using this SMS option because, like I said, most people are on their phones anyway. So why you're trying to provide a convenient resource for your customers? Why not show them that you have your finger on the pulse and that you want to make sure that everyone with new technology can easily be acquainted? We also have an integration with Facebook Messenger. So if people message you on Facebook, like your company's Facebook page, you can have it so that it comes directly into LiveHelpNow and you can answer it just like with the SMS. So it'll come through, it'll say that it's Facebook and you can answer it. And all that the customer will see is your replies on Facebook, but it'll just look like they're chatting with you on Facebook rather than through this. But you can handle it all through here. So you can handle your social media, your mobile traffic, and all of your live chats directly through the system so that you don't have to have separate screens or separate people to do those things. It can all be handled in one spot by the same team if you need to. But this system is very, very robust. We have a ton of features, and we integrate with as much stuff as we can think of. But if you guys have any questions or if there's anything else that you need this to work with that may not be covered here, you, of course, can reach out to us. You can call us, email us. We'll gladly be able to help you out. But this concludes the demonstration for the LiveHelpNow chat system. And thank you very much and have a wonderful day.